Welcome back to Invest Global. Today we'll be discussing Charli3 on the Cardstarter Launchpad platform for Cardano. Now, we've been talking a lot about different launchpads, whether you look at something like Polkastarter on the Polkadot ecosystem, TrustSwap on Ethereum, BSC Pad on Binance Smart Chain, Dime, all these different launchpads. Well, when you look at Cardano, hasn't been released fully yet. And that's why we're looking for infrastructure plays on the Cardano network. And that's where I focused on Cardstarter. So I've done a detailed video on this, but this video is really going to be focusing on Charli3. And the reason is we're combining these two together is because Charli3 was actually the first project to launch on the Cardstarter ecosystem. So if you just look over here at Cardstarter, which again, we've done a video on, I'm talking about the minimum requirements, all these different things. Now Cardstarter has just blown up to ridiculous valuations. I mean, I still think it could grow more, but just since we made the video, it's just done absolutely incredible. Charli3 is, they're completely finished on here. And there is an upcoming IDO that I might be covering tomorrow. So do keep your eyes out for that. But I just kind of wanted to show you some things going on here with Charli3 and why it's done so well. Now, price hasn't really gone ridiculously high after that launch. But if you just look at what really is Charli3 fundamentally, well, you need oracles for decentralized finance. And the current top dog oracle is Chainlink. Now, Chainlink has had some problems. It is trying to be, an interoperable oracle, but there's a lot of these lower cap projects that are actually doing a better job of it. And the reason this is, some people would say, again, this is kind of a longer argument, but they would say, since the Ethereum network still is kind of congested, still has these scalability issues, something like Charli3 on Cardano could be an interesting kind of yin to the yang, an alternative play there when you're looking at something with a lot lower market cap, whereas Chainlink's, I think last time I checked, I think it was around $10 billion. Now, could be wrong on that, do correct me, but I'm more of a long-term investor on all these, so I'm not staring at the charts every single day. If you're interested in doing that, if you're interested in doing trading, I do have a free course called Global TA that I put out here on YouTube. Most people charge like thousands of dollars for a course like this just to learn charting technical analysis. I'm like, what the heck? We should just have this out on YouTube for free. So there's also a playlist for that down below in the description. That all being said, let's hop into Charli3. All right, so say hi to Charli3. As I said, it's Cardano's decentralized oracle. So kind of how it works is data is pulled from APIs. So from my understanding, APIs are applied programming interfaces. And essentially what this means is you're connecting data together and removing this kind of human error element. So think about it like, I don't know, you could think about it for many different things in kind of the information supply chain. So if you've ever played the game Telephone, information, data that you're passing from one person to another gets skewed over time, just like, rumors and things like this. Whereas if think about telephone, except what each person had in between was like Google Translate. So instead of like hearing, the problem is typically what you hear, that it's just a robot telling you. So essentially you have an AI telling you these things, and it kind of removes this human error aspect. And that's really why I see oracles, especially decentralized oracles, as great long-term holds. I've talked about API 3 in the past. I've talked about Umbrella Network. I've talked about Band Protocol, many different oracles I've discussed, but Charli3, they're kind of niche, how you can think about it when just diversifying all these. You can't be looking at all these oracles and not know the difference, right? So kind of a key thing you can keep in your head if you're using like flashcards to memorize these things, if you did this in school, if you're trying to do this with the crypto space, which I think is kind of admirable, if somebody takes it upon themselves to study these ecosystems. I do this with different investment sectors like emerging markets or commodities markets. Sometimes I like to make these things just so I memorize them. And if you want to do this for the crypto space, a great way to understand Charli3 is Cardano's decentralized oracle. That's like the very basic version of it. Now, there is a lot more complicated things, and I think this Medium article actually does an incredible job breaking down Charli3 and really why it's different. So essentially everything up here is what I explained, this narrative of, one of the strongest upcoming competitors to Ethereum is Cardano. These protocols have been proven on Ethereum and are migrating, looking for a place to replicate success on Cardano. So for these projects to migrate, they need this data transfer. And remember, you don't want the data transfer to have human error with these, with like the game of telephone. Rather, we're going to bring it over to a system where, there's kind of this robot in between that doesn't have this human error, that kind of removes for this issue. And that's the whole beauty of the blockchain space. You don't have to trust the person telling you the right information. Rather, you can verify it. So having verifiable identification of data, essentially, instead of just trusting that the other person was saying it correctly. That's how I kind of like to think of oracles. Try and break it down into like easy to understand English, basically. You can get complicated like this code talk, multi-oracle node consensus. force node staking, utilizing native token, multiple redundant Oracle networks. Like, since I am also familiar with code, like I understand most of these things, but for anyone just watching this, it's fairly new to the crypto space. What you need to know is basically what I said. And you can do your own research. Obviously, I recommend doing this with anything I talk about on this channel, as well as if you're just researching the blockchain space, or really any investment sector. I have a video on how to do your own research, link down below in the description. It basically shows you there's many different ways to do your own research clearly, but one of the best ways is really breaking it down from fundamentals, technicals, sentimental analysis, and then on-chain analysis. And on-chain for something like Charli3, for example, would be this. So Etherscan. This would be on-chain analysis, okay? So you can see the max supply of C3. You can see the decimals of the contract. You can see the number of holders, which is very, very important, making sure it's not just consolidated to one holder like Dogecoin is, for example. You can see the total transfer. So you can see it's still quite early, but it's being transacted very quickly. You can literally see everything. That's the beauty, again, of the blockchain, is everything is verifiable on the blockchain. So you can see, like, you know, at time of recording this, 1 minute ago, 1,500 C3 tokens were transacted. And here, 802. Here, 281. Here, 380. So you can kind of see these things, which is quite interesting. That's part of doing your own research. And you can also see where these transactions are going on. So, I mean, their website's pretty basic. It's essentially what this article has. But you know, you can see the Cardano ecosystem. You can see the tokenomics here, with the total supply being 100 million. My apologies. As we saw there in Etherscan, and then you can see how this is allocated. So the seed rounds is 18%, private sales is 13%, public 6%, liquidity providers and farming 31%. Then the liquidity has 3%, the developer pool 8%, and reserves 1%, while team is supplied 20%, which some people may say is a bit much, but I think it's interesting. You know, you do need a team for something like this. You have to run a data oracle. You can't just have it be completely you know, like anonymous. But something like this, I think, is very, very interesting as far as a lower cap play. Again, we'll really focus on this here in a second on their actual their current price action. But I did want to show you, you know, their market cap. When something on CoinGecko has a question mark as market cap, you know it's pretty low market cap. You know, you can look on CoinMarketCap, but you can kind of do the math here just based on, I mean, the current price and the circulating supply to max supply, even though they don't have circulating supply there. That's essentially how you calculate market cap. You just go, you know, the current price and then the circulating supply. Obviously, if a token like this is being dripped out, you don't want to multiply it by the max supply. You want to just focus on what is the current circulating supply. So like Bitcoin's evaluation, its fully diluted valuation comes from if you multiply, you know, the 21 million Bitcoin, which there is the total market cap, by the current price. So that's how you would do it like this, just for a little explanation there. If we go back here, I did want to point this out. So their roadmap here, you can also see on this article. And they break it down here quite nice. So far in Q22, they've done their ERC20 launch / IDO on Cardstarter, and the Bootstrap marketing campaign, Ethereum TGE, Prepare, Cardano based testnet, and then Q321, the Decentralized API inspired hackathon events, which, if I remember correctly, we can check out their Twitter here. I think they have launched this, actually. Yes, so they have. This is absolutely incredible, this hackathon. Now, I am not like someone who's doing, you know, meme and sticker contests. I'm kind of like those things I kind of outsource to. But if you're interested in these type of things, definitely reach out to them. I'll retweet this so you can go find it on Twitter. Our Twitter is just at investglobal_IO. You can go check us out there. Let's see. Oh, I did not. Sorry. That's fine. Whatever. If we basically, if more people get involved in something like this, I think it's great. You know, you see that's kind of part of sentimental analysis, in my opinion, is looking at, okay, what's the engagement for something like Charli3? While the market cap isn't there, or isn't that high, you know, you have 6,000 followers on here. They're getting decent engagement as far as this goes. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting always to look at. As I was saying down here, so Ethereum TGE, you have the hackathon event, leverage Launchpad network on Cardano, expand network of external adapters, migrate to Cardano. So you have to understand that when these projects launch, that's interesting that it's Q3. And then Cardano or ADA code audits. When something like Cardano launches, it's going to be pretty interesting to see. So all of this kind of leading up to the Cardano launch is kind of just people believing in Charles Hoskinson, believing in what Cardano is doing fundamentally, and we'll see how it plays out. But you have to understand a project like this, when what they're supposed to be built on top of is Cardano isn't fully launched yet, you have to use the Ethereum network. So that's essentially, from what I understand, that's why they're ERC20 currently. Now, I could be completely wrong. I'm always open-minded. I'm always looking to improve. So if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. That's just how I understand it, is they started on Ethereum. They're going to migrate over to Cardano. And obviously, they're supposed to be native to Cardano, but since it hasn't launched yet, they're on ERC20. Pretty easy to understand, as long as you understand the networks and you're somewhat familiar with the crypto space. So let's see here. The recent ones that they've been talking about here on their Medium, which again, everything we talk about will be linked down below in the description, is there are core members of the Charli3 team. You have Robert Hever. You have, a lot of things going on here. Parsec, that's awesome for the integration partnership. So go check out their Medium. I'll just have their, obviously, like this article, which I like the best. And then they had this one pre-IDO. Yes, so Charli3 on Twitter. Again, go check them out. Go follow at investglobal_IO. If we're looking at the actual C3 token, again, right around the same amount of followers on Twitter they have here as people that like this and kind of track this token. We've seen this kind of crazy rise up here starting, what was it? Yeah, just on Mother's Day, really. It just ramped up pretty incredibly. It did almost a 2x there. Yeah. Quite interesting. This is one that I'm tracking. I'm very interested in, especially with this trading volume doing fairly well. Here we can pull it up on CoinMarketCap too. I'll do that real quick. So CoinMarketCap, boom. Let's pull this up. C3. No. Charli. Oh, they don't even have it listed. Okay, so that's when you know something is very, very early. That's probably why I was using CoinGecko then, is because if you're using CoinMarketCap only, they only list projects when they're kind of aware of it and it's proper for CoinMarketCap. But CoinGecko typically adds them earlier. So the only other way to know about something like this is if you use the Etherscan, which I kind of walked you through before, at least the basics of it, is go to the listing, then go to the Etherscan. If you can't find the listing on Charli3, try and find the official project's website, find their Twitter, and then find the contract address. Because once you find the contract address, if it's on ERC20, you can look it up here in Etherscan. So again, if you find a token that's not on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap, that's how you do it. Maybe I should just do a tutorial video on this so it's evergreen, because that's what I'm trying to do. Essentially, the same questions that are asked over and over again, I try and record a video on it, address it, kind of explain exactly how to do it, exactly what I would do. Obviously, you have to take this into your own hands. You have your own responsibility. I'm not just going to spoon feed these things to you, but I will walk you through a tutorial. And then from there, you can apply what you learned and essentially research things better in the crypto space, as well as, again, like I said, this channel is not just about crypto. It's about mainly, emerging market investments. And I find crypto to kind of be in that category, to be quite honest. Even though it doesn't have a physical location, it is definitely an emerging market, in my opinion. So let's see, the Cardstarter Twitter here. I was going to show you guys this. So Cardstarter is launching a GeroWallet's IDO, and I know that the Charli3 guys retweeted this. So I think it's quite interesting. Maybe I'll do a detailed video on the IDO for this tomorrow. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that on the GeroWallet's IDO, because I think what they're doing here is pretty interesting. It should be, from what I understand, the third launch on Cardstarter, because after Charli3 it was SoMe, which I did not cover. I kind of pick and choose with Launchpad projects. You can't choose them all. I kind of stick to my core competency. If I hear something about SoMe or someone wants to partner in, I consider it. But typically, I like to just kind of stick with my core competency. And again, like SoMe, I really honestly just didn't have time to dig that much into. There's only so many projects out there that you can keep track of. And I think this next one is quite interesting, though. So they don't have it listed in the upcoming IDOs, which is a bit strange. But they do have on here this Medium article on Cardstarter. So again, it will be linked down below in the description. You can see the Cardstarter price is pretty ridiculous. Obviously, it is a minimum of 500 cards to get involved. So, I do feel a little bad for anyone when I was talking about this. If Cardstarter was $10 and it was only 5,000, it would be a bit different. But it is pretty expensive, for those people who aren't, slinging around a lot of capital. I do understand, the position you're in. If you only have $50,000 to invest in, do you really want to do something like this? So that's something you have to ask yourself. We're probably in two different positions. Probably a lot of people who are watching this are in different positions, but you have to take all these things in mind. There are a lot of launch pads that actually allow you to have access to some of these private sales or some of these seed rounds without the minimum. For example, Binance Smart Chain Pad is one that I find very interesting. I'll probably do one on launch pools is the other one that I have been researching a little bit into, but I think Cardstarter is incredible. Hopefully we see a little bit of drawback in price because I would like to pick some up at some lower valuations. I did get in this fairly early, so just full transparency. But again, I feel for anyone who's trying to buy right now when it's like a 40% uptick. Kind of over again, Mother's Day did go a little bit crazy. It was just it was half, basically less than a week ago. So don't feel sad. There's tons of opportunities out there. Just don't have that fear of missing out. That's terrible. If you're struggling with that, by the way, I have a great video called Psychoneuroimmunology, basically how to deal with fear of missing out and fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So how to deal with FOMO and FUD, basically kind of using your emotions to your advantage rather than having them use you. So focusing on logic, focusing on rationale, go watch that video. Okay. So this is the Gero Launchpad. We won't spend too much on this, but the Gero wallet on the Cardstarter Launchpad. Let's see. We'll launch on the multi-chain compatibility with built-in interchain swaps. Gero aims to disrupt the incumbent financial institutions in the traditional web mongers. Let's see. Sorry about this. I had to grab a little water. Successful web mongers. As a successful CAP client, Gero will be mentioned by industry veterans with vast experience and extensive connections. With access to all the materials needed for a successful long-term project, advancement of cryptocurrency adoption is dependent on creative interfaces, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, I'll probably do a detailed video on this. I just kind of wanted to introduce it to you guys. Users basically will be able to, send and receive, store on any blockchain. So it's basically using this kind of parachain framework and creating bridges between all of them, directly buy or sell any cryptocurrencies with fiat on and off ramps. That is awesome. That is awesome. Okay, so definitely will make a video on this. I did not realize they were allowing you to do fiat on a wallet. That basically removes the need for these decentralized exchanges. So that is very awesome in my opinion. That's I think the only reason centralized exchanges are still around is because people that are already in crypto want to trade on decentralized exchanges. They don't want to deal with Coinbase. They want to deal with Uniswap. They want to deal with, even though it's not as decentralized, PancakeSwap. It's still a DEX technically, or Radium Swap. Any of these different ones. Definitely will do a video on this. So just stay tuned for that tomorrow. This video is probably ran a little bit long. Also, one last thing, if you've made it this far in this video, I'm testing out a new microphone here. So I'll just give you a little insight since this has gone a little long. I'm testing out the basically nicest mic I could find while I'm here in the United States. In Istanbul, I wasn't able to find kind of I just wanted to get the highest quality mic. It's just like the Yeti Blue mic or whatever that I could find. Especially for travel, since I have to, lug this thing around. I want to make sure it's good that I'm still here in the United States and you appreciate the sound quality. I can kind of edit, obviously, the audio, but let me know how this is compared to the other videos. So basically, I'm recording this, let's see, on May, sorry, my days are mixed up. May 10th of 2021. So, if you're watching this multiple weeks from now, the reason I'm clarifying this is go back to May 10th, 2021 while you're watching this video, and then look at previous videos, because everything leading up to this video, I've just recorded with a laptop mic, or, I've had a little lav mic, but it's never been like a proper audio mic like this. So again, just let me know the sound quality. That's kind of what I just wanted to end this video on. I appreciate anyone who is helping me improve the channel, because I'm always looking to improve and iterate. Covering new projects, doing 3 videos a day is a lot, but I love doing it. So that's all for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, button all, invest global, and until next time.